On the air. We're on the air! Yay, live! Good morning. It's Monday
Good morning.
morning, and we're so glad to see you. We're sneakily recording this ahead of time, so you're only getting a recording instead of a live show today, but you don't mind because it's going to be just as good as ever. So happy Monday morning. Congratulations for finding us. We know what it's like to work from home, and that's why we're here doing this every Monday for ourselves and for you. The whole idea is to start your week out with some really great momentum, some new ideas, some new energy, some feeling of support and connection perhaps. If you're on your own, it can feel like you're on your own all the time, and that can be lonesome. So we are here to help you with your business to move forward. Start your week out rocking. You can slide into that home base on Friday feeling really good about what you got done, eager for your next week, and happy with your progress. We have a really cool show for you today. You know, last week we were talking about the idea of working on your business instead of in it, and just for a refresher, this whole concept is for many of us, we start a business, we're the only person in it for a while, maybe for too long, maybe forever, and we are doing everything, which means we're in charge of marketing, and we're in charge of payroll, and we're in charge of the products, and we're in charge of sales, and it's kind of too much, and we got way too many hats. And what happens often with that kind of a business is it never really gets its feet under it and grows the way the person meant when they first started it, because all they're ever doing is working in their business, and they never have a chance or take a chance to step away and look at their business from the outside, make plans for where it's going to go in a year or 3 years or 5 years, or what kind of products we need to introduce, what kind of skill sets we need to bring on board, because the person that's doing it thinks they never have time for that. And unfortunately, if they don't take the time, they'll never get out of that rat race. So we talked about that last week. We're going to talk about it some more this week. We have our regular guests, Linda and James, and after I introduce Linda, or Linda introduces herself, James will take over because he's going to be talking with us about mind mapping. James has a lot of experience with that. He coached me a couple of weeks ago on it, and I can tell you it was a fabulous session, and it really made a difference for me. So I'm excited that we get to share it with all of you. But first, my introduction. I'm Sarah Coolidge. I've been doing these Monday Hangouts with you guys for a little over a year, and it's my goal to help you grow your business and help me grow mine. Linda, how about introducing yourself?
Happy Monday Momentum. All right, so I'm excited to hear James and how we can get this business out of our heads and onto something that we can do tangibly. But in the meantime, what I do is I create websites that are optimized for smartphones. And it's really something that's really critical to businesses these days. So you need to optimize for mobile. I'm your gal.
Cool, thank you, Linda. Okay, James, why don't you take over, and we'll ask you questions when we're not sure what you're talking about.
Good morning, everybody. My name's James. I'm currently with See Me Space, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and click over here to be screen sharing here in just a second. I'm a marketing strategist, a systems person when it comes to promoting and advertising your business and your talents. And one of the things we've been talking about, touching base on here the last couple of Hangouts, has been creating systems. Systems really are the way you can take your business from a just me level to a actual business where you have employees, you have people that are doing things for you, that are doing different functions of the business that you normally do or have done in the past. And so one of the tools I use for creating those systems is a mind mapping tool.
Hey, James.
Yeah.
Could I interrupt long enough to ask for your website, and I'll type it in the chat bar because your lower thirds are not showing up.
Oh, it dropped. It's seemespace.com.
Okay, just in
But
case all
yeah,
those
right,
millions of viewers would like to hook up with you.
right up here.
Okay, it's sort of it's behind him anyway. If you look behind him, you'll see it somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, James at Steamy Space is a
Steamyspace.com.
good way to get a hold of me. Um, so did you now? Something unique just happened on our Hangout here. Did you type something to me?
I'm typing it in the chat box.
Okay, so it's showing up above your face in the
Okay, that's
Hangout, which I've
cool.
never seen happen before.
See,
Are you?
Hangouts are always an adventure, you guys, and that's why it's so great that you've joined us and you're learning this whole new technology. It's been around for a couple years, but we still have surprises all the time. So
Absolutely.
welcome to
Yeah,
Hangout.
like dropping your lower third.
Yeah, drop your lower third, add some text on the top, whatever.
So I'm going to go over to a screen share, and I'm going to see if this. I can't do it. So if you wanted to make sure that it doesn't fall off of me while we're talking, Sarah, just go.
I have you locked on, so I think I've done that.
Is
Linda,
that
are you seeing me right now, or are you seeing James's screen?
I am seeing you.
Me.
so? You go to my thing and you say broadcast to all. I think.
Okay, because I have James locked on. And really, you're truly seeing me in the front of the whole big giant screen or on the bottom?
I'm not because I clicked
No, I'm
on
asking you,
myself.
Linda. Sorry,
I'm,
no.
I'm getting the switch over between who's talking and.
So if you have, I think if you hover over me and you go to that little arrow, and you click on it, there should be like a broadcast to all.
Hmm.
I know if I double click on James, he'll stay there.
Either that or just
Do that, and I'm trying, James, but as far as I've
the other
got
option. The other option is just to mute. Put mute on both of you, and then if you have something to say,
good.
just go ahead and unmute.
Okay, I'll do that.
So I'm showing my screen share here. I've got one of my preferred tools is Cacoo. It's cacoo.com. I'll be sure and tweet this so that they know I'm giving them some love. But I've used MindMeister. I've used FreeMind, MindApp. There's several mind mapping tools out there. When it comes to mind mapping tools, you look at several different tools. Cacoo is my favorite. I have my reasons. There's a lot of different things that I like to have a lot of control in my life. I like to be able to have very tight controls on how things look and how I lay things out. Some of the mind mapping tools only give you certain options, but this one just gives you a lot more freedom in how to develop your mind maps. So just to kind of get us started here, I threw together this. This is like a very blank template, and just to give you an idea of where you can start. Now, you can use predefined templates, or you can create them from the ground up. But more importantly than anything, a mind map gets everything out of your head onto paper in a visual way, especially if you're a visual person. If you're a very analytical person, or if, spreadsheets. There's so many different ways you can put information in into play. But for me, I'm a very visual person, so being able to look at the big picture is kind of important. And this is a variation of a couple other mind maps I have. I will share some of my mind maps. There's just a few of them that mind maps tend to be something that you would keep as private, unless you're developing a mind map for a team and you want your team to understand this concept that you're expecting the team to participate in and roll out. But for me, mind mapping extends beyond business, extends beyond what I need to do to make money. For me, it's a whole life. I have mind maps for things that are very personal. I have mind maps for business. I have mind maps that help me define where the lines need to be drawn between running my business and being a part of my family. So,
It looks like you've got yourself in the middle there,
oops.
meaning, James is in the center of that picture, and I'll click back to it so people can see what I'm talking about. Oops, it went away. So do when you set this up, what goes in the center? I mean, I'm assuming maybe you were going to tell us that, but is it a project, an idea? Does it change as you go along, or perhaps you were going to dive in on that anyway?
Yeah, no, that's a great question because on this one in particular, I put me as a center, and I just started kind of looking at all the different aspects that make up my life, all the things that I do either on a daily, weekly, monthly, whatever that is basis, and maybe there's some long view, which is I left this area blank and wanted to make this for uh, future projects. So a lot of times where we get stuck in moving forward is we're passionate about a lot of things and we have a lot of things that we need to accomplish. Um, and the long view is something that gets in the way. The things that we want to do eventually, that we are spending time on them today because we don't want to lose it or we don't want to forget. Um, and uh, so we tend to kind of get stuck doing things today that have no consequence on our success today. There's something that we would like to have time to do in the future. So by mind mapping these things out and by putting them on paper, by putting them into a visually, um, a nice visual presentation, we can put those things on the paper and then we can forget about them and we can get back to being productive today. When we don't write things down, when we don't record things, when we don't create a system or put into words what it is we need to do on a daily basis, then it's next to impossible for us to find someone to help uh, help take over those areas. So in this one in particular, I put presentations that I'm doing, retreats that I go to, family activities. We've got networking events that I go to, networking opportunities, website design, marketing clients, date night with my wife that I'd like to start being a little bit more planned out, and then far future things that I'm going to be doing in the future. Um, by putting these things on paper and getting them out of my head, I can move forward in what needs to be done today. And just like this one, I'm going to go ahead and click out of it. First, I'll save it. I'm going to click out of it. I'm going to go to my diagram. So here's some of the mind maps that I'm doing. Cinevision is a membership site that I'm helping build, and in this one we laid out the different ways we want to get clients or visitors engaged in this process, whether they join as a member, whether they become a magazine subscriber, or whether they just simply want to sign up for the newsletter. From there, we've created a system that how are we going to move them to where we want them as far as a paid member of the site. So each one of these just helped us to visually look at that process, but also to make notes and to put controls into place. We share this. You can share this with your team. One of the things we have here is shared with me, so you can see a couple of mind maps that Sarah and I had put together that we're working on, and that just allows us to really see where each other's at in the process and to keep each other accountable. So one of my favorites on here, I'm a member of the Exchange Club. It's a service club, and this next year we want to bring a new event. Now, you got to understand, we do about 6 major events every year already, and there's 35 of us. So the idea of bringing another event into to the party, um, there's some resistance. So I knew going into this process that if we were gonna bring in a whole new event, a whole new project, that I'd need to be able to show the value, I would need to be able to show the process, I would need to be able to show the why. So, and this is what I like about Cacoo. This is not a traditional mind map. It's not linked traditionally, but Cacoo allows you to kind of step out of those traditional mind map processes and actually create documents. I'll show you another one in a second that's very, very document looking. But so this, and I'm not going to go into the whole explanation of this, but this just allows me to show and explain while I'm talking to our members what is involved, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and everybody can get that overview. Everybody can get that picture in their mind and understand what it is we're trying to accomplish.
So would it be safe to say that what you're showing us here, James, is not necessarily a traditional mind map, but more like a diagram, or I mean, there's nothing wrong with whatever the label is, but that you can use Cacoo and maybe other systems, not just for mind mapping, but for putting together a nice demonstrative piece so that people that you're trying to show, this is how it's going to work and this is how it's all going to happen, instead of making them come up with a picture in their head because you're only explaining it verbally. For those of us who are really visual, it's a sales tool. I mean,
Right.
You're selling them on, let's do this event, and this is how it's going to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And along with the lines with like what Linda does, sometimes the hardest thing when you're working with people to build their websites, and correct me if I'm wrong, is trying to get them to explain what they want, how they want it, what they want the menu to look like, what menu items you want on top, from what menus do you want to fall under those top menu items, and does it make sense? Is someone who visits your website going to find what they're looking for based on that menu system you created? And a mind map is a great way of putting all those elements on the table and then designing a way that they flow, that they actually work together.
So I see you're sort of nodding, Linda. Is it true? Would it be a useful tool for that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, great. So I'm wondering if she could also use Cacoo or something similar to come up with a template mind map to give to them, instead of saying, go in and make a mind map, because they may, they all resist doing more than they have to do because they're so busy usually.
Well,
so,
yeah, and a lot of it has to do with
where it's all laid out, and this is a potential. Here's your landing page. Here's where do you want these? How do you see them connecting to each other, and then get the information out of them in an easier way, maybe.
And Cacoo has those templates.
What's that?
Cacoo has those templates.
They absolutely do.
Absolutely.
I can show you this section over here. Well, I want to show you one thing, and then we'll go to that template section. But just to show you the diversity that you can tap into, this is a mind map. This is a mind map of a program and a programming system and a marketing system that I've developed, and how all the different software systems work together, play together. And I developed this specifically because we were looking at bringing in another software tool that someone else had developed, and they needed to see and they needed to understand how our system works so they can figure out how to hook into our system. So we created this diagram, and there's a lot of garbly goop in here that mostly nerds are going to understand the most, but This just helped us create this process so that when we were talking about how the software worked, how the system worked, where the data went, everything like that, we had a very nice overview of that system without divulging the software itself. It gave us that starting point. It gave us that talking point place. But let's see. So yeah. So if I go in here and I want to create a new diagram, and since we didn't start at the top of the hour, are you?
I am, and we have about 9 minutes left for the entire broadcast. So maybe 7 or so for you. If you've got some great little tidbit, don't forget it.
So one of the things with Cacoo that I also like is it has a lot of templates, mind maps, that are, it has traditional ones, but then it has very non-traditional ones. So in this one, there's mind maps on something like this. This is a very basic, if I can blow this up or not without. So this is just like a company structure. It would be from the CEO on down. And I think that's, where did I go? What happened? What did I do? Oh, I'm just running slow. So here's different flow charts. Here are traditional mind maps that when people think of mind maps, this is what they see, and this is probably the most traditional thing I use when trying to figure out how things fit together. Here's that network process. Office layout. How are you going to lay your office out? How do you want when visitors come to your company, what's the office going to look like when they come in? This is a site map. This is what we were talking about as far as with building a website. What is the process and what's all included in your site? You can create interfaces for if you're an app developer for cell phone apps. How are they going to look? How's that process going to flow? So there's really an unlimited. I mean, you can design, if you really don't have any other tools, you can design your greeting cards. There's really no limit to what you can't do with Cacoo, and that's really what has drawn me to it the most. And let me pop out of this. This was one that we did again for CenterVision. Was we were building the site, we wanted to establish a series of forums, but we wanted some forums to be only for certain levels. So we laid out all the different forums that we wanted to build, and we then decided which forums would be available to which levels on our system. This is a real good tool for interacting with your team and creating something that you can see and understand from a visual aspect, but it takes it beyond that visual. It actually takes that information and makes it so that you aren't forgetting anything, you're not missing anything, and if someone goes, oh, what about this, they can pop it in there real quick. So it helps in that process of not forgetting. And so when you get it on paper, when you get it into a system, when you put it into a workflow, whatever that might be, you can get back to the business of working what needs to be done today, and you don't get hung up on things that aren't critical today. And that's really what it boils down for me, is getting my head out of those non-critical issues and actually being productive on what needs to be done today.
And that's, for me, thank you for showing us all that, and I had no idea there was so much in there. I'm like, oh good, a way to make greeting cards. Oh good, a way to help me with this event that I'm putting on. Oh good, a way for me to figure out my next website that I want to work on. So that's fabulous, because I didn't look around. But I really want to stress, at least for me, someone had spoken to me about mind maps and a different program maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and they said, go in there and do this, Sarah, and it's going to help you figure out something. I don't know why. I mean, it was around business. I remember that much. And I really resisted it. I worked on it for 20 minutes or something and just felt heavy and hard, and I'm typing too much. I could just go and do this. I don't want to spend the time writing it down. I want to go and do it. Or I could write it better on a piece of paper than on the computer. But, of course, I never did write it anywhere. And it may have been that program, it may have been me. I don't know exactly. Obviously it was a different time. But when I worked through some of the stuff that I did after we talked a couple weeks ago about it, I was so struck by the sense of relief, like you were talking about, because to me, the mind map, I look at them and I think, why do I want one of those? The visual piece of it is not so appealing to me, but I can see why people like them that are into visual stuff. But what happened for me was when I made it, the process of doing it helped me with that sense of relief that was really, really important. I have so much in my head that there's this and there's this and there's the kids and the business and all that stuff. To get it, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here, these two connect, and this one has to come first before that one. That it was such a relief that that's the thing that I want to encourage all our watchers to really consider. Maybe it's not appealing to you like it wasn't to me, because I don't want one of those charts. I don't see why I would use that. But that feeling is pretty nice, so you might like that. And if you're feeling like, oh my God, I have so much going on, I have a really hard time explaining what I'm trying to do to people in my life. Sometimes they seem to think I'm crazy because I have so many balls in the air, or I just feel overwhelmed and I'm not always sure what to do next. And then I get another idea, and it's almost like a curse because I don't need any more ideas. This will help with all of that. So I encourage you to look at it for that, getting that sense of relief. And what it also did for me was really clarified. Okay, I can see that these three things are really important for me to be focusing on now. And, I kind of knew that anyway, but somehow seeing it that, oh, yeah, these ones have the most impact on all the other stuff. So if I play over here on all this other stuff, I'm not going to have nearly as much impact with my limited time as if I work on these three. And that's really was really helpful for me as well. So I'm really grateful for you showing that to all our viewers, because I know we have people out there that are just beginning in business and feel like they need to do it all themselves, and maybe they do need to do a lot themselves. But this is really going to help you see where you're going and give you some hope if you're a little bit in despair about all of the work and it's taking longer than I thought, and there's so much more to this than I thought there was. This will help you with that, and give yourself that break and take a little time and look at it. And I'm sure James would be happy, if you contact him, reach out to him to spend some time with you on it. There may be a fee for coaching, but we need to pay our experts to help us. So I know it made a big, big, big difference for me, and that's why I'm really glad we spent time on it today. And we're just about out of time. Sorry, guys. Was there any other little bit you would like to add, James, about mind mapping?
No, I think I think one of the biggest obstacles there are in doing this process, kind of what you said. I mean, I'm a visual person, so it makes totally sense for me. I enjoy doing it. I like to make them pretty. There's some that I went very technical with, but it's an outlet for me. But it doesn't. Once you get over the curve of how to use the tools, I can snap out a mind map in probably about a half an hour, and then that cuts down, I would say, a good 4 to 8 hours of trying to train somebody and explain something and spending a whole day going through this process, as opposed to having that mind map built. They get it in front of them, they get the picture, it gets questions, it kind of facilitates all the questions, and then as soon as they've got it and they've had their aha moment, now you got a team who's moving forward. And if it's just you and you're the team, it's still that 2 hours invested is going to give you days of relief as far as just having that, like you said, Sarah, having that clarity of, I did that earlier too when you weren't here, but just having that clarity so you can move forward and not feel overwhelmed or burdened by all those different things you want to do or that you feel like you need to do. So,
have you found that when somebody does like an initial mind map at all of the people you've worked with, like me, is there a recommendation that every 3 months you should go and look at your mind map, just like maintenance on your vision and your dream? Is there
usually initially I would say keep it close. Look at it often. Time will give you more clarity. I, believe it or not, hadn't looked at my mind maps for probably about a month before you and I started getting your mind map set up, simply because it's out there. I know it's there, and I don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And unless the Cinevision ones were the most recent ones I did, as we were kind of stuck on some critical things for building out that site. But no, I think initially it really is it's a personal thing. But if someone's really stuck and someone's really struggling to kind of move forward, then I would say just look at it often. You don't have to work on it often, but just look at it often. And if you spend 15 minutes tweaking things, then it's just going to keep it fresh and crisp, and it's going to help you build that confidence that it's not going to fall apart.
Great, I love that, and I suspect that part of the reason for you that spending time on a mind map before you train somebody cuts down, as you said, on the training time, is because you are visual. So you taking the time to take it out of your head and put it into a visual form gets it clearer, so that it's easier to train. Because you've okay, first this, then this, then this, then this. If you didn't do it and you tried to explain it to somebody, which I guess is what you meant about the 4 hours of saving, but anybody that's a visual person for themselves, in order to be able to teach someone else who may not be so visual, putting it into a visual format makes it, it's clarified. You can see and speak then about what are the steps to this job. So, fabulous. And now we're out of time. So, Linda, I'd love for you, because you're our senior whatever, guest on our show, to go ahead and check out, and if you have a tidbit or two, please throw it in, and then pass it to James, and then I'll close it out.
Well, first of all, James, I want to thank you. I'm really impressed by your mind maps. We're so used to seeing the very simplistic ones, and you've taken it to a whole new level, so thank you for that. And I think for our viewers, perhaps starting out with some of the more complex design is probably a bit too much. So I think a great mind map to start with might be your life, just like James had the center of his life, but pretty much laying out your personal life, your business life, your relationships, everything that you're interacted with. And if you find one section really looks like a big spider web, you need balance in your life.
That's good. That's good advice.
Thank you. And James?
Well, I enjoyed sharing this with you. My name is James McFadden. You can reach me at james@seemespace.com. That's right above here because my lower third disappeared. We are getting ready for our grand launch, where we've been in beta for quite a while, and so look for that coming up the first week of June.
Fabulous! Congratulations. And for Linda, you can reach her at lindak.com. Am I right?
Absolutely.
responsive so that people can see it on their phone, because that's pretty much the only place they're looking at it these days, you should contact Linda. And I'm Sarah Coolidge. I'm here in California, and we're checking out for your first Monday Momentum. Oh, it's not the first one in May, is it? No, it'll be the second one in May. Okay, so we're already rolling into summer. If you want to reach me, you can find me at ceospacewest.com. And at CEO Space, we help you accelerate your business growth. So if you're in a spot and you'd like to be way over here with your business and you want to get there quicker and cheaper, you might want to contact me. We will see you next week. We're excited because next week we will be running Monday Momentum out of a Monday Momentum YouTube channel. So up until then, it's been Sarah Coolidge, where you could find us on YouTube. But next week it should be, if it all works out, and I think it will, the YouTube channel will be Monday Momentum. So please go in there and like it and view all the other things and keep us rolling, because we're having fun and we want to keep doing this. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Bye.